I'm here with Trevor Rill. He is an Ascot Level 5 certified coach, the senior division coach at Eagle Swim Team, the program director for Eagle Swim School, and the assistant aquatics director at McDonough School. So, Trevor, can you tell me a bit about your swimming background?
So I was a Y brat growing up. I swam at the YMCA through high school. I also was a summer league kid growing up. And then I never actually. So fun fact about me is that I actually never swam in college because the when so I went to community college for a couple of years. That didn't offer a swim team, and
Mhm.
then when I went to my full time for my 4 year university. I was an education major, and because of my student teaching schedule and my coaching and my already established coaching schedule, I wasn't able to make any of the practices. So I actually did volunteer with my college though for a little bit.
That's really cool. So, how did you
Mhm.
get into coaching? You said you had already established your coaching career when you were at your four-year university. How did you get there?
So I started teaching lessons at age once I turned 10, once I was in fifth grade. Started teaching lessons at my summer league, and then I volunteered with my YMCA for many, many years. And then I started teaching swimming lessons at the JCC of Greater Baltimore when I was old enough, through the American Red Cross. And then once I hit 18, they hired me on as a coach, and it's kind of just gone from there.
No, that's awesome. I wanted to ask you actually about some of your experience with JCC. I was reading you developed an advertising and recruiting campaign. So, what did you learn from that experience?
So the advertising and recruiting campaign was very much kind of one in one because at the time, and this is one of the things that I started, which kind of led me into starting our Junior Barracuda program and starting the 8 and under program there, was that the JCC was constantly, my aquatics director at the time was constantly saying, we need more members, or they're going to stop the team. And I went, okay. And the other thing that the JCC was looking for was kind of the quote unquote elusive creature, which was the lifelong member, somebody who started in a program when they were really young, grew up, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, we kind of already have this. We just
Hmm.
need to streamline it a little more. And which was kind of the 4 or 5 year old that you put in the swim lessons, which then becomes your swim team member at 6, which then becomes your lifeguard at 15, and then becomes your swim instructor at 16, and then becomes your and then becomes your coach at 18, and then the it goes from there. I like kind of like I said, we were kind of missing just that piece in between swim lessons and swim team. So I started the 8 and under program kind of word of mouth, where I was working with a lot of the instructors who weren't really on swim team. Um, and I started to convince a lot of the kids that were on swim team to become instructors for us, so that way they could really push those kids that were signing up for swim lessons to come talk to me and have their kids sign up for the Junior Barracuda program, and
Yeah.
then become, and that very much streamlined that process into starting from point A and building a program from when you're 5 to when you eventually graduate to 18.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. How
Yeah.
has your, so actually, really quick, for people who don't know, what is the JCC? We keep saying it, but
The
just want to
JCC of
clarify.
Greater Baltimore stands for Jewish Community Center. It's where I worked
Okay.
for 9 years. So yeah.
Okay. Just want to clarify. Some people might
Mhm.
think it's like one of the colleges in my area was a junior JCC, like L, junior community college of like whatever it was. Um, so how was your experience with developing advertising and recruiting campaigns for these eight and unders approach? How has it affected your approach to running lessons?
So it helped, for me at least, it helps me understand where they're going, right?
Mhm.
Because I've worked from kids from 5 years old to kids who have made it to paranationals, senior, summer, summer juniors. Um, I've had the fortunate opportunity to work with some of my postgrads that have graduated from Eagles back in and one is actually making the trials, you know. So it really helps me understand from, like, you start here because I've seen you at every single level, right?
Mhm.
And I understand where you're going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, so what was kind of that experience like training these athletes that make it to super high levels? with junior nationals, Paralympics, but then also coming back to kind of the grassroots of eight and unders.
It's a lot of fun. Um, you know, it's obviously, the the talent, God's gifts, et cetera. You can't necessarily identify that in a 5-year-old as you can with an 18-year-old, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, they're still developmental, just in a very, very different way. When I'm working with
Hmm.
an eight, I'm teaching you how to do streamline, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes with my 18-year-olds, I also have to teach them how to do streamline, but
Yeah.
but
Definitely.
but with them, it's more okay. Here, let's talk about race strategy. Let's talk about opening speed, closing speed, this, that. It's nothing. But like I said, at the end of the day, they're still developmental, just on a totally different spectrum. But
Mhm.
and also at the end of the day, they're all still kids, which is great.
Yeah.
And I sometimes joke around with my with like our like I division across all um, the two make with our national middle senior, which is kind of the multi for the kid who does for the kid who's still trying to figure it out. And I joke around with like I'm going to treat you like my second graders, guys. How many, when we breathe, how do we breathe quickly? What do I want to see off what do I want to see off of every wall? Tight streamlines, right?
Yeah.
They get a kick out of it, and they get a kick out of it, and my second graders, that's how I teach them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's the approach I have with some of my kids sometimes. I coach some age groupers, and sometimes you just got to remind them that I'm not afraid to treat you like these second graders that I'm teaching lessons to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you have a process of um the learn to swim program, your swim school, and
Mhm.
transitioning from swim school to team? Do you have a process for that?
So right now, so the swim school that's ran by Eagle Swim Team, I'm not very involved with. I actually run our summer league. I run our summer league program,
Mhm.
but the hope is that because um we have now that we have an established swim school through Eagles, is that we can start kind of like what I did at the JCC, start at the grassroots, start building the program up, start building the program through Eagles. On the flip side, at McDonough, which is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
um, I also I teach our like I said, I teach all of our lower school swim classes there. And what I'm trying to do there is and what I'm trying to do there is essentially build up the program so that way they're ready because I also run our middle school program there.
Okay.
So I build them up so that way they're ready for middle school. And then from middle school, they can then transition to high school and be successful at the high school level. And that's the hope. And luckily, as far as I got this from John Leonard a long time ago, um, is that there's consistency across
Hmm.
the board.
Yes.
Because again, this is what this I'm quoting him, humans, we are fickle creatures. You know, um, it's interesting because I feel like I'm in a very unique position with McDonough right now because in theory, right, I can work with and I'm starting to see it because I've been there a few years. I could start with you in first grade.
Hmm.
You could swim for me through middle school, and then if you swim for me for Eagles, you could swim for me through high school, and I could quite literally work with you your entire swimming career, which for me is really cool because I get to see them grow up. And for parents, it's a comfort that they
Hmm.
know, okay, this is the person that they've been with since they were little, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's something that we in aquatics have that is extremely unique. I know like they're the guy over at North Baltimore,
Hmm.
the age group coaches over there. He's been one of the age group coaches over there for forever, and he tells me all the time about how he works with where he'll work with the same group of athletes from when they're 6 to 10, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I kind of can do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really cool. I'm
Yeah.
curious. So when you taught lessons before, does
Hmm.
that differ from how you approach your lessons that you're teaching at McDonough that are like the school ones?
Nope.
Okay. I was
No.
curious. I wasn't sure if kids had a different attention span after they've been in school all day or like
No.
how they kind of act.
Actually, swimming is part of the PE curriculum
Okay.
at McDonald's. So that's where I'm able to actually use some of the things that Swim America has provided for me, where I can take some of the ideas and concepts of the levels and start applying them to with my kids for the
Yeah.
summer camp. For the summer camp is where I go full boat. Is where I go full boat for the for Swim America, and I start doing the and I hand out the certificates, I do all the stickers and everything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's where I'm really um, and the idea behind that was that I was bringing quality swim lessons back to the camp,
Hmm.
and the hope is that I'm now recruiting from Eagles and McDonough and some of the and some and from the local college around and the local college right down the road from us to be my instructors.
Hmm. I was just about to ask, how do you approach getting your instructors? But okay, so if you retain them during the summer, do you incentivize them to want to run these summer camps, or how do you manage your high schoolers?
So, um, so the idea, so again, the nice part is that, um, I used to run a summer league team, and I ended up hiring, she was a junior at the time. She went to her senior year and then her freshman year of college. And then she actually took over the summer league for me last year for her sophomore year of college.
Hmm.
And the nice part is that I was also her coach at the time. So I understood her training plan.
Hmm.
So when she needed time off, she got time off. When she needed to taper, guess what? You're not coaching today. You're not spending 8 hours in the sun
Hmm.
teaching lessons and whatnot. You're not doing that. And I think that at least for me, that's an incentive to come work for me because the kids, I already have an established relationship with them. I already know what their training schedule is. I already know what their training plan is. And they know for a fact, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If I get all swim team kids, I'm not going to have any instructors come meet weekend. But on the other hand, they know that, hey, so and so, I have meet this weekend. Okay, cool. I already know about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm in charge of that, coaching you for
Yeah,
that. That's
I'm
yeah.
I'm aware.
Do you ever find that if you are so close to them all the time, do you ever have any tension between like instructor and coach or high school kid and coach?
Not really.
Okay.
You know,
Oh, that's
not not
interesting.
not really, because they understand my bound. We've known each other for so long, for the most part, that we understand boundaries pretty well.
Hmm. Oh, that's good.
Um,
It's
yeah.
nice to hear that there are those relationships because sometimes people like when high school coaches are around their kids too long, they get a little antagonizing of each other. So it's good to
Yeah,
hear
no,
that it's like good.
which I get, but
Hmm.
like, this one kid, he's been swimming for me for the last couple of years. He was a lifeguard for me over the summer. I had no problems with him whatsoever. He was actually one of my best employees.
No, that's good. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to any incoming new programs that are looking to start?
Understand what your end goal is. Are you like, for example, for me, my end goal is that the kids that I teach for the summer will come and join Eagles at the end of the summer. The kids that I teach for McDonough will eventually end up, granted, I know that I teach every single lower schooler. I'm not going to get every single kid coming out for swim team,
Hmm.
but the end goal is that I'm hoping that I can capture enough, right,
Hmm.
to make them want to join the high school team at the end of the day, right? That they
Hmm.
come back and want to play water polo for me for middle school. That they want to come back and swim for me for middle school, and then they play water polo and swim in high school, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, so again, just think about where are they headed?
Hmm.
Like, or are you just, because if you're only in this just to make money, or if you're only in you're not, you're never going to make a
Yeah.
ton of
Yeah.
money. Alrighty,
Yeah.
there's very few swim schools out there in the world, right? That make a ton of money, right? But if but if you're in this for the right reasons, you're going to enjoy every single minute of it.
Yeah, and the people will come. If you build it the right way, they will come.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. And then any advice on advertising or recruiting for these new programs?
Word of mouth all day. Word of mouth all day. Um, I was, I know Facebook, Instagram are huge helpers, social
Hmm.
media. And we're currently and at Eagle, we're currently working on that and making our presence more known on social media, Swim with Swim America.
Hmm.
Um, that one in my mind is, I don't want to say obvious, but it's kind of obvious. Um, but um, but you know, like I said, word of mouth. Talk about it. Talk about it with your kids. Like when I was at the JCC, I was talking to members all the time that no, our swim team is serious. It's no longer just a year-round summer league team. It's a
Hmm.
program that we've been wanting to build, that we're trying to build, and we're trying to develop real caliber athletes, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it took time. It took a lot of time and it took a lot of effort. But at the end of the day, it worked. We managed to perfectly streamline kids through our lesson program, through our 8 and under program into swim team. And then the nice part is that while I was at the JCC, I also helped coach our senior and senior development kids.
Hmm.
They ended up back with me at the end of the day anyway.
Yeah. They liked where they were going because they knew it
Yeah,
was familiar.
exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.